That was boring, huh? No, that was incredible game. I think first of all, um, Red Bull deserves credit as well. I thought they played a really strong game. Two good teams going at it at the end of the day in this time of the year in the playoffs. Somebody has to lose, and unfortunately, it was them. But they had a great season. On to my guys. Again, the heart that they show week in and week out. At 2-0 down, everybody, has that kind of negative feeling in their brain that, we're not going to get it done. And it's a group now that there's always been questions. There's been, they've been in the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, but, they haven't won a big game, So, again, while we recognize now we haven't won a championship yet, this is a big step forward for the club. It's the type of win that can build momentum in a playoff run. It's a very fine line. As I was sitting there at 3-3, I said whoever wins this game is going to feel really good about themselves, going into Atlanta. So we'll have to regroup quickly. Have a great Atlanta opponent. But, again, the players deserve all the credit for today. Every guy stepped up in a big way. You lose your top striker, Casper. Even Corey Burke, a guy that would kill to have been on the field tonight. I think there was a little something extra from all of our players in it. I actually don't envy you guys because the amount of storylines from tonight that you can work with, it's probably going to be a late night for you guys. So, again, congratulations to the players first. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Union. I think our fans can walk a little taller, a little prouder, which is a good thing, because it's been a long time coming to get that first playoff win. It's been elusive, and now we finally have it. And I have to say, probably the first time we've been the favorite in a playoff game, and our guys made it interesting but took care of business.
Jim, you have yearned for this, and very often yearned publicly for this.
Yeah.
On this podium. How does it feel?
Feels great. Look, I've never been one to hide, and I think even before this game I said we have to win. It's a home game, and then I was at 2-0 down. I was regretting all the things that I had maybe said and maybe put too much pressure on our guys. But mistakes happen. Mistakes happen in the course of 34 games. Mistakes can happen in the playoffs. But the sign of a true team is when we get in at halftime and there's still belief. There's still belief that we can come back. The guys had Andre's back, and I think in a way, a different guy has stepped up each evening. I don't want to even single out individual players because there was too many good performances, but really proud of them for the effort. But in terms of, it's not about me, but I do feel very proud for the players, proud for the city, proud for the club. And again, I think this team has had a special season. But the playoffs are honestly, I'm not being cheesy or cliche, the playoffs are what turns good players into great players, and then also great players into legends. It's the reality of things. People hate maybe Euro snobs hate the playoffs, or it's not European, or it's too American. But if you turned on the TV and watched MLS this weekend, I think it's been incredible for the game. Is it different? Yeah, it's different. It's chaotic. It's end to end. It's teams being brave, but it certainly leads to teams leaving everything they have on the field, and it leads to desperation from coaches to do things maybe you wouldn't in the regular season. So I think that everything that's taken place, not just for us tonight, but for the league as a whole, I think is a real positive.
When you guys have a start like that, what is it you think that settles them down and settles them into the game? And is Bedoya's goal, being able to get that one back, part of getting guys back into it?
Yeah, obviously it's a huge goal. The first goal, we were a little, the game was chaotic at the start, just like we kind of talked about and thought that it would be. And they made a play, and you can live with that one. The second one was kind of just an error, and we made a mistake. So now you're two goals down, and fortunately the goal that Ali scored kind of comes from nothing, or it's a quick free kick from Harris. But that certainly changes the game because now, again, the mind becomes a powerful thing. When we score that goal, Red Bull has some thoughts on the last time we played here as well. You know what I mean? So things start to creep back into their minds. So it kind of flipped the momentum. I thought we really pushed the first half, even from the Ali's goal to the end of the half, and then we had a difficult goal before the half, which is always a challenge. But to the players' credit, they had confidence in the locker room. In a lot of ways, they put confidence and instill confidence and belief in me, even when it can be tough. Because 3-1 down at halftime on the road, at home, is still not a great place to be. But yeah, came out in the second half, and I thought deserved to win the game too. That needs to be said. I think we really created a lot of chances in the second half, and then in the final 30 minutes as well. So a fair result in a crazy night, and I'm really happy for the guys.
Jim, what do you tell a guy like Andre, or what does maybe Ali or Harris tell him after halftime, after that blunder, and how do you guys kind of regroup in the locker room to put in a performance like you did in the second half and extra time?
I hate to make it simple, but Andre's won us games and won us points in the past by himself. So errors happen all over the field. The thing about soccer, everybody makes a mistake in the course of the 90 minutes. They always get magnified more at the goalkeeper position. So the players that we stress to them to have his back and pick him up now when he needs it. Just like he's picked us up so much in the past. When we used to give up 30 shots a game. No, I'm joking, but he bailed us out of a lot of games as well in the past. So, we had Andre's back, and again, this is a team that is together.
Jim, two questions. You mentioned the game the last time the Red Bulls were here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of similarities. You go down 2 goals at halftime. They scored just before halftime. Did you think about that game when you go into the locker room and how you guys came back from that? And a follow-up on Marco.
Yeah.
Comes off the bench and gives you guys.
Yeah. Look, for the first part, certainly we talked about it. That was my first line out of my mouth at halftime. Was we've been here before against this team, and it's not easy. It's a hard place to be. But whoever scores the next goal in this game, the momentum's really going to swing in their direction. So I can't take credit for anything that was said or done or tactics. It wasn't about tactics. It was more about rolling your sleeves up and having Ilsinho on your bench helps also. So he's been a guy that can come in and change the game. Our roster is a deep one. I don't think many teams in our league can go and bring an Ilsinho, a Fafa Picault, and a Marco Fabian off the bench, and they all impact the game in the way that they do. So I owe a lot of credit to Ernst Tanner and Chris Albright for the depth that we have in our squad, the way they manage the cap and get the bang for their buck that they do out of each and every roster spot. So that part's been helpful for a coach, and it makes things easier. In terms of Marco, Marco's a great player. We all know that. Incredible talent. He wants to win here in Philly. He wants to make a special play like he did tonight to win us the game, and he's a professional. So while he's disappointed, I'm sure, with me for not being in the starting lineup, he's always been professional, respectful, and when he's called upon now, he came into the game and impacted it not just with the goal, but holding the ball up for us, rolling a few balls through guys' legs and being brave and keeping possession and drawing fouls. So he gave everything for the club tonight, and he sent 18,000 people home very happy because of his performance tonight.
Coach, we've talked all season about the substitutions that you've made and how timely they are. How did you decide that these 3 guys coming in and this was the right time to bring them in the game? So
it's one of those things where if we lose or if it's in the regular season and we tie, the subs always are the first thing everyone points to. I'm not going to sit here and take credit for the timing of it either. So it works both ways. I have good players, and the players are the ones that win the games. Sometimes they step on the field and score, but again, I'm not going to pat my staff or myself on the back. That's not really how we operate. So, the players deserve all the credit in that regard, but certainly nice that they all had such a big impact because they're great players.
Going back to what you said a couple of minutes ago, coaches make desperation moves in the playoffs that they wouldn't make in the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't assume that you're particularly talking about Chris. So what was that case with you?
Chris.
Yeah,
Arms.
I mean, Arms.
Oh.
I don't think you were talking about him making desperation moves. I assume you were talking about yourself as well.
No, I just mean in general. Every team now. Look, you saw the games yesterday in our league, and just because it's loser goes home, you have to be a little more desperate than you would, obviously, in the game in July or August. That's all I mean by that. So every coach now is forced to manage the game a little bit differently because of the stakes, for sure. It was the case for sure, because when you're 2-0 down after 10 minutes, the plan goes out the window. So you have to be, you have to adjust. And again, tonight wasn't about a coach. It was about the players and the performance that they put in.
From the second half on through stoppage time, the crowd was very loud. Could you kind of get a sense of the atmosphere, or could you have, a chance to make something of that? Or
yeah, always. The crowd was great. I thought the entire stadium, after the early maybe negative remarks that came from the Sons of Bend, I think it woke us up a bit, which is good. They were right in their comment that I can't say through the microphone right now. So it gave us a little bit of life. It gave us some energy. And that desperation that we talk about has to come out, because if you go down 3-0, it's going to be real difficult. So the crowd deserves a ton of credit as well. It's as loud as I've heard it here, and then certainly at the end, with our players' excitement and the crowd's excitement and the appreciation that they showed. It's a team that's easy to like. It's a team that I think the city can be proud of. We're different. It's a group that's from a lot of different. We have 12 different countries. We have a very diverse locker room, but everybody's on the same page, fighting for the same thing. And I think it's a team that's very lovable for our fans.
What's the Jim? What is the ceiling for this team now? It seems like a win like this in particular can really galvanize a group and give them maybe a little bit more confidence even they had coming in to tonight.
Yeah. So I think our ceiling, I thought a lot about that all year, and the games where we went back-to-back against Atlanta and LA, I think told me the most about the group, because for me, those are two of the best teams, and we played a good game against Atlanta and got a result, got a win, and we played LA to a tie in a game that could have gone either way. So those teams are the top. I respect that, and I recognize the talent that they have on the field. However, our group on their day can play with any team in this league. I think you saw even New England went down there and caused some problems. So they're a little banged up. They have some injuries. Our guys certainly are going to be fearless and brave. Yeah, are we playing with the house's money a little bit now? Yeah, we are, because going to Atlanta in front of 60,000 is a difficult task. So it kind of suits us a little bit. This was the big one, though, because this one we were the favorite. And that's a hard thing to be when you haven't ever been the favorite, really, and won. So we got that out of the way, which is a big step for the club. And now we're back in the role that we like, the underdog.
Is there any update on how Casper's progressing?
Yeah, tough one. He obviously desperately wanted to be a part of this. It hurts on a Thursday when there's a little bit of a setback, and you get the news that he's not going to be able to train with us first and foremost. Then he tried to train again Friday and Saturday, and it wasn't going as smoothly as kind of the plan that we had in place, and that's a hard thing for a player to deal with. He was crushed yesterday as he's sitting in the new tunnel club and just kind of recognizing he's not going to be part of it. So all you can do is support him, give him a high five, give him a hug, and tell him how much he's meant to this team, and we're going to win for him. So our players have done a good job of picking up the next guy. But Casper certainly, we're a heck of a lot better team when he's on the field, and we have him with us, our group, than when he's not. So in terms of the injury, it'll be kind of almost day by day, and I'm not hiding anything. It's literally going to be what he can tolerate with the second metatarsal. So it'll be something that we're going to continue to push to get him back, and he's dying to play against Atlanta, obviously.
Any update on Bedoya?
Cramp on this one, so nothing related to the other injury. I was giving him a tough time because he has to come out of the game, which I've never seen him do that. So no, he literally had the quad. He had been kicked about 15 times and put so much into the game. He was incredible on the night. The definition of a captain, the definition of a leader, but no injury there, just some tightness and cramping.
Marco Fabian's taken a lot of criticism from his fan base. Some of it hasn't been fair, but fair to say that he scored the biggest goal in this team's history. That's a big.
Yeah, look. If people want to criticize Marco, they're wrong. the people should criticize me because I'm the one that didn't put him in the game. And when he was called upon, he delivered. So he's a professional. He's a guy that, if you separate soccer off the field, as a person that I like a lot. I think he's a great person. He's great with our guys in the locker room. He has a lot of friends here, and he just wants the club to win. So if people want to be critical of him, it's the finger should point to me because, again, he's a player. He just wants to be on the field, and at this time I chose to use Brendan over him, and that's not personal, but at the same time he's a guy who obviously now has scored a very big goal for us, and a guy that we're going to need again against Atlanta, and then hopefully against Toronto or New York City. So
To whatever might happen in the future, given this nature of this contract he saw, to know that his legacy was, as you said, on the field, but also in the locker room, how important is that to you?
look, everybody's going to remember this game. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to remember it. They're certainly going to remember that Marco scored the winning goal for sure. And you know, when I talked with the Fox crew yesterday, I said our club needs that, whatever the game is. You know, the Fabian game. We've had the El Seno game, last game against Red Bull. This is now one where people are going to remember this game for a long time, not even fans of the Union, to be honest. So it's a big one. And I joked with the Fox group about I can remember when I was a rookie. I'm going to bore you guys now. I got you. I was a rookie in LA, and we played against Alexi in an elimination game. This is when it was golden goal, and he scored the game-winning goal. He ran up this Cal State Fullerton, a hill that's covered in basically shrubs, and he was up to his waist in shrubs with his shirt off, and it stayed in my head. It's still the first thing I think about when I see his face, and it makes me angry. So you need those moments, because that ended our Open Cup run. It was a big game, and it just stuck with me. So we haven't had those games where something jumps off the page and it stays with you. And I think tonight you could feel it. It was happening. And again, what people remember and reflect back on as the plays or the guy is for them to determine. But I have in my mind how special tonight was. And you know, I brought that up yesterday with JP Della Camera, and yeah, that's something that we didn't have yet as a club, and now we have it.
And your last three over here, Jeff and Matt.
Obviously, the first playoff win is always going to be special, no matter who you beat. But did it have a little something that did it almost have to come against a rival like the Red Bulls?
Yeah, look, they're a team we respect a ton, but they are a rival, you know. And in Philly, New York, there's always something extra across all sports, you know. So yeah, it is a little more special because it's against a team that every time we get together, the games are the margins are so tight, and it's one play here or there. Tonight there was 7 goals. There was a lot of plays. Unfortunately for a coach, you don't like 7 goals, but it was special. But yeah, that does add a little extra having it be Red Bull, our big rival.
Coach, you talked about images that you remember from your first game. What's the image that you as a local guy will take away from tonight?
I think the excitement first of the players when the final whistle blew. I think we had a couple false whistles where guys were already celebrating onto the field a little prematurely. Apologies to the league for that. I hope they don't fine us. But again, the image of the players, their excitement, their kind of feeling that we did it, and then also the atmosphere in the stadium. The stadium when the final whistle blew was as loud as I can remember it. And you know, it's something I'll remember forever for sure. And it's something that was special. Really important win for the club tonight. But there's still a lot more to accomplish. And again, as we try to become a club that moves up and is talked about with the Atlantas and the LAFCs, we have to find a way to win, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that really matters in pro sports. But it was a big win.
Last question with that.
You know, at Atlanta was a big turning point for this team after the start of the season, and then here was probably even a bigger turning point, as you mentioned, where it seemed like, hey, this team can actually win these big games. You know, how do you feel confident going into Atlanta, knowing that you've played well against them in 2 games this season?
Yeah, for sure. But they've done some special things this year. You know, they already have a championship, an Open Cup under their belt. It's a hard place to go to. Their stadium and their fans make it very difficult. We know we'll have some traveling support that we need. We really do need down there. But yeah, it's a team that has a couple injuries to center backs. I feel bad for Parkhurst as well, as he played yesterday. It was incredible. It was like if you have a kid who is a center back, show them that game because he was that special. Disappointing for him to go off with an injury, but they're dealing with some injuries at this time. They have incredible talent, attacking talent all over the field. We'll have to be at our maximum to have a shot down in Atlanta. And again, playoffs are fun, and this is when, like I mentioned before, guys that step up get remembered, and that's a special thing. And we're going to go down there and be brave.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.